gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
The electricity here in Columbia, well, has been buzzing loudly all weekend.
Passion of the crowd in Williams-Brice Stadium is second to none.
And the rave breaks out in Columbia.
It is good!
Gamecock fans, welcome home.
See how it goes, but we'll be ready to go.
It's time to root.
Let's go, Carolina!
It's gone! Touchdown! What a hit! He baked it in! Can you believe it? Gamecocks have won this game!
Here are your hosts, J.C. Sherber.
Oh, watch him celebrate now!
Phil Molinex.
My wife doesn't like hanging around losing.
And Jamie Bradford.
I'm going to tell him, you look like you joined Duck Dynasty.
All right, greetings and good morning. Welcome aboard and welcome home inside the Gamecocks of the show, live from the Sinorama Studios and built by the Barndo Co. The barndominiumco.com, where you can build your dream home for as low as $160 per square foot if you are in the Carolinas, Georgia, or Tennessee. Sinorama is the preferred sign partner of Gamecock Athletics, and their work is right behind me today, as a matter of fact, in my screen, but all over campus in Columbia, whether you are at Founders Park, Williams-Brice Stadium, Colonial Life Arena, and pretty much everywhere in between. JC will be here in just a minute. He's just wrapping up a couple of things, and then he'll join both Phil and I in our Monday morning/afternoon, June 19th version of Inside the Gamecocks of the show. It is Juneteenth, so I know a lot of you are not at work today, and if you are with us while you're at work, or if you're with us while you're at home, we certainly do appreciate that. Hope everybody had a wonderful Father's Day. First and foremost, that is what matters. We had a very, very busy weekend around here, and pretty exhausted, to be honest with you. So, Phil, we should have taken the day off because I feel like I'm about to fall asleep, but I won't do that. John Whittle will join us.
I was awfully tempted to hit up the group chat to say the same thing. No, that's all right.
I know.
That's all right. We power through. That's what we do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we just, you gotta work, man. I mean, that's the name of the the gig here. So, so John will join us coming up in hour number 2. John, of course, will be all over the news coming from Gamecock baseball. Justin Parker is headed for Starkville. Matt Williams is headed to Columbia. I have been in contact with folks about this all weekend long as well. I've got plenty of information to pass along, and we'll fuss and discuss throughout the morning. We've got some big visits ahead this weekend in Gamecock football. The U.S. Open was a treat. I thought Ricky would crash and burn on Sunday, and he did. So no surprises there. Unfortunate for him. And so on and so forth. With all that said, hey, Phil, hope you had a wonderful Father's Day, man.
I sure did. Had a great Father's Day, man. Saw you did. Hope you enjoyed your time out on Seabrook. Caught the picture of the deer and everything. Man, y'all looked like you were having a great time.
Yeah, that guy is funny. The deer that are out there, they know. They're like,
yeah,
you can't touch me. I'm going to stand right here and stare at you with my velvet and all, and there ain't a daggum thing you can do about it. I know, man. You're right.
Yeah, they're brazen, right? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, they know what's they know what they can and can't get away with out there. But yeah, no, it was great. We had a wonderful weekend, and my wife and children were great to me, and certainly appreciate that. So, yeah, happy to spend a ton of time with them over the last couple of days. I hope all of you had a wonderful Father's Day as well. Good to see you in the Nana's Porch chat box. I know Craig tweeted to us yesterday while he was out on the golf course. And, Craig, I hope you shot it better than I did. I was playing par golf through the first 5 holes, and then 6, 7 holes, I just couldn't find it. Found it again towards the end, but is what it is.
That's the thing about golf, though, right? Yeah, it's like, it gives you just enough to where you keep wanting to come back for more.
Dude, well, I took my on the 18th. Probably about 250-ish or so down the left side of the fairway, kind of fringe rough off the tee box. And my second shot was pin high, but off the green and kind of on the backside of this hill. And then my third, I chipped it, and it rolled to within about 6 inches of the cup. And I walked up and I tapped it in for par on the 18th to walk off. And I looked at my buddies. I was like, I mean, that right there, it happens every time. The golf gods are like, we know you're miserable, but guess what? We're going to keep you coming back on the 18th. Don't worry. It'll all work out for you.
We got you. We got
every single time. It was, that's how the golf gods get me to come back. And I actually will not be on the air this Friday either. I have been invited to play golf at the Country Club at Charleston Friday, and you can't turn that down. So I'm going to go play on Friday morning, and you and JC are going to have to figure out how to navigate this thing and mix some sports in, if you don't mind.
Oh, I mean, we'll toss a little in just to keep it interesting.
Yeah. I'll pull it up in the golf cart and call in or something. How about that?
Yeah, that's right. Let me get in the chat box and tell us how we need to put the train back on the track.
Exactly. JC again, he'll be here in just a minute, guys. He's wrapping up some work. As for the news coming out of Columbia, shot a 67 KFC. Holy smokes, nice. Boy. Well done.
That's the way to do it.
Meredith, you got it. No doubt. I'll play with you. We got to come to Columbia soon anyways for a couple of things. So we'll set up a tee time and we'll get up there and play. As for Gamecock baseball, so obviously John Whittle all over it. He'll join us coming up here in hour number 2 for a little while. He is covering some recruiting and stuff like that today. So we will get him with all kinds of goodies. But John broke the news this morning. This is something that over the last few days has kind of been in the works, and over the weekend it really started to shift gears. Justin Parker heading to Mississippi State to be their pitching coach. Here's what I can tell you: the offer he received, that's a Philly. It's a you can't turn down type offer. And as a matter of fact, I'm not sure. South Carolina aside, Gamecocks did, of course, try to keep him. There's no doubt. Coach Kingston, and we'll get to Matt Williams in a second, obviously did have a plan in place, but South Carolina, LSU, you name all the big-time programs in this league, the amount of money that Coach Parker is going to be paid to go work for a limo in Starkville it's a life changer. So, hats off to him. It's one of those things where sometimes it doesn't always all work out for everybody. In this instance, when I first caught wind that Matt Williams might be the guy, you thought, wow, okay, well, that could be a big deal. Matt and Monty have known each other for years. He's recruited this state for years. He's from here. He's from Lancaster, and has been in the mix before to be the pitching coach at South Carolina. As a matter of fact, I think John covered a lot of this in his article this morning. So with him coming, you're losing, I think, an elite pitching coach. But what you're also gaining is an elite pitching coach and one who has relationships everywhere in South Carolina. I don't even know how many to explain. High school baseball coaches, qualified good travel coaches who are just going to be over the moon with this hire. It's not a hire that Coach Kingston is bringing in and having to kind of walk him around and, hey, here's our new pitching coach. I know we've been recruiting you, young man, but this is Matt Williams, and it's not going to be anything like that. He's going to be able to walk into basically any door he wants to walk into, and there is going to be an instant comfort level there. So I'll be anxious to see, how that shifts some recruiting stuff in the future. And I think he's going to do excellent with it. And him and Monty together recruiting the state of South Carolina is a huge, huge win. I've already received multiple texts this morning as well, Phil, from some guys in the baseball world that have known Matt for a long time, whether they know him well personally or just know him professionally, saying this is a killer hire for Gamecock baseball. So if you look at the track record, South Carolina has always had an outstanding pitching coach. Always. You go back to Coach Myers, under Coach Tanner. Coach Calvi was absolutely outstanding. Jerry ends up coming back to South Carolina, and they win another national championship. The train stays on the tracks. You end up having to move on from Coach Myers because he's getting, he had some health issues going on at the time. And you bring in Skylar Meade, you bring in Justin Parker. These guys are really, really good. And so hopefully the train will stay on the tracks here with Matt Williams. And, my personal thoughts on it, I think that they will.
Yeah, I think my biggest concern heading into this was the recruiting momentum that I believe this past season has built up, just from the win-loss standpoint, even the way the guys in the clubhouse are talking, about each other and just the vibe you're catching off the whole program right now.
Yep.
We're seeing that shift back to Carolina baseball, right? And it's like, so when I was reading into Whittle's article and saw Williams from Lancaster and all that, I'm like, well, and I'm glad you kind of cleared it up too. It's like he already knows the guys around the state, which I think is something that, if King were being honest, he was kind of, a little behind the curve when he first got here because he just didn't know anybody here.
Yep.
Outside of, a limited few. So that was my biggest concern. And with those, fears alleviated and, or allayed rather than we should be back. Okay.
Yeah, I think so. And here's the thing, we've got a Bruin Nation he's got an interesting comment here, and one that I have a large agreement with him. He said maybe now they'll finally start recruiting the state better with Monty Williams because it hasn't been pretty from in-state high school coaches' mouths the last 3 or 4 years. I think that I think there's a lot of truth in that. I think that one of the things, quite frankly, initially in Coach Kingston's tenure at Carolina that they kind of missed on was having a staff full of guys who already understood this state and was already recruiting this state and knew how to recruit this state. It's a very tight-knit state from a baseball standpoint. Everybody knows everybody. And, word travels fast and those type things. And, when Monty was up at Clemson, it was kind of strange because, and this isn't my opinion, just so people understand, I've got pretty good connections to baseball in South Carolina.
You don't know anybody.
So,
what are you talking about?
Well, some people might think I'm an idiot, but they're the ones they want to believe that. When Monty was up at Clemson, it was really strange because Monty, being from Lugoff, playing at the college, like coaching at SMC with Coach Wallace, coaching in the Devils program, coaching at Wando when I was coming up. Coaching at South Carolina, there's a he established all these unbelievable relationships, but Monty's a Carolina guy. Monty's a Cougar, he'll always be those two things. He went to Clemson and it almost took the state kind of by storm. It was like, wait a second. This state for a long time was really groomed kind of as a Gamecock baseball state. And I've said that in some of these little fancy feel-good pieces we put out, during the season and stuff like that. This is a Gamecock state and this, that, and the other. I don't mean that as a shot at anybody. Tony at the Citadel, unbelievable human being. Chad Holbrook is an unbelievable human being. There's so many unbelievable people in this state in baseball, but this state has always been judged by what the Gamecocks do. Not really what anybody else does unless it's conjunction with Carolina baseball. And so when he went up there, Monty could get in any door he wanted. Problem was, a lot of those kids didn't want to play at Clemson. Respected it, didn't want to play there. If Monty was knocking on their doors, the head coach of South Carolina, there's really not a lot of recruiting going on. It's, hey, here's an offer. Here's what we can do. Okay, that sounds good. Kind of like what Coach Tanner had built. And so to Bruin Nation's comment there, like, they have missed a lot on elite in-state guys. And it's not like the state has I think the state's had some tough years comparatively to the past. I think there's been some more high-end, high-level guys in previously, guys certainly that I grew up with, but obviously plenty of them after that. So I'm not sure that you've had a lot of those dudes come through here, but there has been elite talent in South Carolina. And when you see guys sign into, like Coach Toman's kid, I mean, he's playing pro ball, but he was going to go to LSU, Phil. You got a catcher, going to Louisville to play for Mac. You got guys going to Virginia. You got guys going to NC State, East Carolina, North Carolina, and so on and so forth. That ain't a good look. I mean, this is little old South Carolina. Like, how are these guys getting out of here? That's impossible. Now, some of them, because of this influx of, migration to the Palmetto State, there's a lot of kids playing baseball in the state that have zero ties to South Carolina and zero ties to Clemson. They've moved here from Atlanta. They've moved here from wherever. They don't care about playing for the Gamecocks or playing for the Tigers. But it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be recruiting the top talent in your state at an elite level. You're an elite program. You got to do it, right? And they have missed there. And his comments, I think he's dead on. That has shifted. And Monty has done an outstanding job with that. And Matt Williams is going to do an outstanding job with that. And to credit Coach Kingston, he has done an outstanding job with that recently. But for a while there, they were certainly, I think a lot more misses than makes. And that was a problem. But hopefully that problem is going to be eliminated. So all in all, I think we did have a question just a minute ago too about is this an upgrade or quote status quo? I wouldn't say anything like status quo. I mean, everybody's going to be a little bit different. It's not a downgrade at all. Matt Williams is going to go somewhere big. He has chosen to stay at Liberty the last couple of years. Matt Williams was going to be a pitching coach at an elite baseball school. And I think the Gamecocks are going to be very happy to have him moving forward. So with that said, we will step aside quickly. It's 11:20 and time for a break. JC will get in when we get back. We'll get his thoughts on this as well. We'll continue to answer your questions in the Nana's Porch chat box. We've got football and John Whittle coming up in hour 2. Hang tight. Inside the Gamecocks, the show is teed up by the coolest club in the Carolinas, travelingcountryclub.com. We'll be right back. Family vacations, a new car, a new boat, all cost money, but you don't necessarily have to make more to afford any of that if you can save cash that's flying out the window now. iHelp Consulting can help you finally get the kids to Disney World, upgrade the minivan, or drop that new boat in the water next summer. Let Daniel and iHelp Consulting consult with you. No fees, just savings. You pay them a percentage of those savings. Save on essential services, credit card fees, you name it. Let them find it. These folks are incredible. iHelpConsulting.com. How can I help you?
Just as your State Farm agent combines good neighbor service with surprisingly great rates, you can combine your home, auto, life, or small business insurance with Tony Pope State Farm Insurance today. And guess what you'll get? That's right, even more good neighbor service with surprisingly great rates. In fact, Tony Pope State Farm is your go-to agent anywhere in South Carolina, North Carolina, or Georgia for the service you deserve at the price you want. So try combining your home, life, auto, and or small business insurance today. Tony Pope State Farm has been in business for more than 30 years and can handle anything you need in the tri-state area. Once again, Tony Pope State Farm will help you mix and match perfectly. Call 843-851-2222 or visit TonyPope.com today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
The real estate market has changed dramatically from just a year ago. Rates, supply, demand,
all of your traditional factors are in a transition phase. That's why if you or someone you know are considering making a move in the Low Country, contact me, JB, at Coast to Coast Realty. I work with an outstanding support cast of attorneys, lenders, inspectors, insurance agents, and more, all of whom are valuable in helping find a way for you to comfortably make your real estate decision. That's right, call me, JB, your Low Country real estate broadcaster. Building your dream home is often just that, a dream, and sometimes a nightmare. But at the Barndo Company, they commit to quality and build without sacrifice. Customization, open floor plans, limitless flooring options, maintenance-free and easy installation perks, and affordability are just a few reasons why they've been named one of the best builders in the U.S. Believe in your dreams. Visit thebarndominiumco.com. That's thebarndominiumco.com. The Barndo Company, Gamecock owned, Gamecock operated.
Traveling to cheer on the Gamecocks? Reserve your hotel stay with Fan Plans. Your booking supports inside the Gamecocks and the Big Spur, plus you still earn your hotel loyalty points. Visit fanplans.com/inside the Gamecocks.
What's up, Gamecock Nation? This is Jakar Moore from the DMV, and you are listening to the show.
Welcome back, everybody, to Inside the Gamecocks, the show. Kicking it off on a Monday show. I've got a lot of stuff going on the screen right there. But first hour of the show is presented to you by, of course, Cindy Searfoss and the Coldwell Banker Kane Realty team up here in the upstate. Give Cindy a call at 864-414-5271 for all your upstate residential real estate needs. Good, we got JC in there. Yeah, what's up, man? Hey, you found your visor.
Oh, yeah, I found this one. I found my UNLV one, too. For those of you that don't know, that's why the Gamecocks are not in Omaha right now. Because
I forgot that it was a UNLV was lost
on Friday. Yeah. But I got this one. Yes, apologize for my hair this morning, folks. I got up, was going to give it a good brush, and got sidetracked on the telephone. These days, that's my life. So... good to be with you guys and not on the phone right now.
Well, welcome and hope you had a wonderful Father's Day weekend. Obviously, we have been kind of rehashing about the changes at South Carolina. By the way, 2 o'clock first pitch today for Tennessee and Stanford in an elimination game. Someone's going home there, and then LSU and Wake tonight at 7 o'clock on ESPN. Florida, who knocked the Gamecocks off in the Supers, is 2-0 and inching closer to playing for another national championship. But some other good news for South Carolina. Ty Good did commit this weekend. That's public, righty from the College of Charleston. He's an upper 80s 90 guy. He's not gonna blow you away with 95 plus mile an hour fastballs. It's not gonna happen. But he's a guy that knows how to pitch, and he will be helpful in some way, shape, or form. Carolina still has arms to sign, and they are in the heavy thick of it for a couple of All-Americans. And if Monty and King can pull that off over the next couple of days or few days, you will be looking at the middle of the order featuring 4 All-Americans next year. 4, which would put you right up there with probably the best offense in the country, if it pans out the way it should. But JC, per the news, with JP heading to Starkville and Matt Williams coming in, I'm not sure how much you know about Matt. I know a decent amount about him. He's been around the block, and he is one hell of a pitching coach. He's a guy who's going to be thrilled to be in this seat. He is, I'd call him a Gamecock guy, and he's gonna be able to step in and do some damage when it comes to signing top-notch talent.
Oh yeah, well, he's apparently Kingston's first choice when he hired Justin Parker. So, I think the timing with Matt has been a little off. I know he was really good at UNC Wilmington. I think wasn't he the pitching coach when they came to the regionals a few years back? 2016. In 2016. He's well liked and respected. I know Whittle thinks the world of him. We'll get his thoughts later, of course. But
yeah, he's good.
If you're going to lose Justin Parker, and I know there's some question as to why and all that. And look, man, whatever the reason was, Carolina didn't want to match it or let him get on the plane. I mean, that's you make decisions when you're a leader and head coach, AD, whatever you want to call it, and you live with them. And that's all I got to say about that. And, I think that with the way this went down, though, it's probably going to work out pretty good for Carolina. I think the optics, some people are not going to like the optics of getting quote unquote outbid by a fellow SEC program on that, especially Mississippi State. It's not exactly, they're not.
Well,
they're not as, they're up there, but they do put on, and see, I don't know exactly how it all went down, but I'm just kind of addressing some of these complaints out there, but
I think fine. People have a football mindset of that, though. We need to back the truck up on that real quick. Mississippi, JC, I was talking to somebody on the phone this morning who you know extremely well, who is in the media world, who covers college baseball. And Mississippi State has any resource they want at their disposal when it comes to baseball. The money he's getting there is more than he will be the highest paid pitching coach in the SEC by far.
Mm-hmm.
By far. And I'm not sure of many people that we're going to come back and get to that number. At some point in time, it'll be public. That's a public institution. You can look it up. But when you have something like this waiting in the wings where you can make the change and it works out that way, and you feel like maybe you've improved your program, you've improved your recruiting and all those things, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. I like Justin Parker. I'm not trying to dismiss this. That's not what I'm saying. But sometimes things work out, and I just happen to think this is an instance where it does. But I don't want people to look at Mississippi. It's not like Mississippi State football is stealing, Dow Loggins or Pete Limbo. Like, that's not what's happening here. Mississippi State baseball, you're in the NIL world now, too. These are two separate things, but you're in the NIL world. You get this. They have unbelievable resources at their disposal over there, and they do have more money than South Carolina because they seat almost 14,000 people a game. That's double the crowd that comes to Columbia every day, and almost every game over there is sold out. So it's not like this is the Sisters of the Poor. This is Mississippi State baseball. It's one of the best programs in the country, although they struggled this year, and they went out and made a great hire. It's hats off to Limo. By the way.
Yeah, they get a lot of revenue for their sport too. With the people don't like to hear this, but the reason you build suites in a stadium, and Carolina Founders Park does have some suites, don't get me wrong, but I think Mississippi State has condos in the outfield or something like that. Those are revenue generators specific to the program. And I haven't looked at their numbers, but Carolina usually in baseball breaks even. They probably lose a couple $100,000 with this sport. Most years, some years it does take a bigger hit than others. It's not a revenue sport at all. But I would imagine if I looked at the Mississippi State numbers if they looked at see how much revenue does their ballpark and how much revenue do they generate on baseball? In other words, I bet it's up there. I bet they still lose money on the sport, but I bet it's higher than Carolina, probably higher than just about anybody else in the league.
Yeah.
They do that. I'm not making excuses here. I always think that, if you got good people, you need to pay them. And that's mine. But I also, that is an outstanding salary he's going to get. And it probably goes a longer way in Starkville than it does in Columbia too. And I like Justin a lot. I get to meet him at the event, and
it's great.
My fiance likes him a lot too, because it's the gun show every time he walks to the mound. But I don't. That's one area I don't know that old Matt Williams can stack up. With the gun show and all that. With Monty and King and Justin, they were just like Chippendales guys, out there.
You didn't want to fight that staff, no.
Yeah, but it's but hey, look, it's fine. These things happen. I think it's unfortunate because just from the timing of it, because from my standpoint, with Carolina Rise, man, I had this brilliant idea, I guess. Me and my brother, that is, Saturday morning of starting the Diamond Fund, right? So give a little game has a little extra support in the portal and all that. And it's what we did surpassed any kind of expectation I had. Fans really responded to it. I felt for the first time in a long time there was a unified kind of let's go get them Kingston kind of thing. And of course, the criticism's not coming down on King at all. It's coming down on Ray. But I mean, yeah, it was just such a peaceful weekend, and then this stuff happened. So it's like, it's the most, classic South Carolina situation where.
But I mean, the silver lining too,
yeah.
I mean, JC, how many coaching searches have you been through in your time in the media? You've been doing this for a long time. It is very rare. I mean, very, very extremely rare that you lose a guy and he is immediately replaced with a guy. You know what I mean? Like
a serious dude, yeah.
Like this isn't like, King. The way that this played out for Carol, if you're going to lose a guy, it couldn't have played out any better. You can't go hire a better pitching coach than Matt Williams to come in and replace JP.
The vibe, a little bit of vibe I get too is this. You remember the Brian Van Gorder 30 days?
Yeah.
30 days of Van Gorder.
God, was it that long?
And everybody, he left and went back to the Falcons as the DC. Don't blame him at all on that. At the time, he was one of the best D coordinators in college football. He'd been dominant at Georgia and then went to work for the Falcons and came back. And I mean, everybody was like, oh my God, Brian Van Gorder and Steve, even Georgia fans were like, man, I don't like that at all. Mm-hmm. And he packed up and rolled. And, the head coach that's here now just happened to know a guy that had been at Arkansas for 30 days named Ellis Johnson. Spurrier hired Ellis, and that similar guy wanted to be home from the state. Heck, I think Matt's from Lancaster. I think Ellis is from Winsboro, which is right below Lancaster in that little corridor up 77. And Ellis obviously had been the DC at Alabama and Mississippi State and Arkansas and wherever else, head coach at Citadel. So he had a longer track record at this level than Matt Williams. But you're right, Matt Williams has been. It's just a matter of time before he went to a major program, and the timing is right for him to go to South Carolina. So I would kind of compare it to that and tell people, look, what happened? Brian Van Gorder, as NFL coordinators do, they get fired eventually. They all do. And then he goes back to Auburn and Notre Dame and collapses. So ended up getting fired at both places. So and Ellis had a great career at South Carolina and took the program up a level, helped Spurrier take it up a level, and then, ended up at Southern Miss and then Auburn and then retired or whatever. So I think sometimes there's a silver lining in things like this when a guy leaves and they do get him replaced that quickly. You sort of know, all right, and replace him with a quality dude. I mean, that's big. And I was actually in the studio and heard your points about in-state recruiting. And that's big, and I'll add, I love, just from my baseball standpoint, I love this Ty Good kid, the pitcher from Charleston. He's a kid from South Point and Rock Hill, in-state guy. NC State, I understand, had a big financial situation on the table for him. He's a grad student, so the tuition payments for baseball grad students are a little bit different because there's grants and stuff you can qualify for as an undergrad, but not graduate school. State had all that taken care of. But because of his relationship with Monty Lee and the pitching coach at Charleston, who's a Monty Lee guy, he picked the Gamecocks and he's going to be taken care of. Thanks, Diamond Funders. Anyway, but I love it. This kid, Whittle says he's got command of 4 pitches, a nasty slider, not a Veach style, oh my God, slider where it's going all in the dirt and stuff, but a filthy one that kind of gets in there on you or whatever. And I think that's a big piece, whether he's a weekend starter or bullpen guy. And I think whether or not he is, it largely depends on how much better does Matt Becker get, how much better does – I think Becker will probably be in there regardless because he's a lefty and they need left arms. And I think Matt actually – I have a good feeling about him next year. So, but you got him and Kimball and Eli Jones and a lot of options there. But I think it kind of all depends on like how it works out and really what Matt Williams thinks now too. But I do make no mistake about it. Like this was one I was excited about because I went and did some research on him. And I think Ty Good will be good for the Gamecocks next year.
Well, he's a guy that is going to bring some flexibility. He's got some of that James Hicks in him, and the fact that he has to know and understand how to pitch. Now Hicks throws harder than Ty, but he has to understand how to pitch because he's not just going to step out there and be a power guy, and so he has to control what he can control, which is being able to throw multiple pitches for strikes. And so he's a guy that they're going to be able to kind of figure out what they want to do with him. I think when I look at him, I think the ideal role that I would see him compared to what they have returning at this point in time is that he probably, if the season started today, is going to really firm up your midweeks, and then he's going to be a guy out of the bullpen on the weekends. Clearly that can all change. I think someone just asked a question a minute ago, Clint, is Kimball a starter or a bullpen guy? He's a starter. Roman Kimball is a guy that they are expecting a lot from. And I wouldn't be shocked at all to see Roman Kimball get the ball on Friday night to open the 2024 season. Oh, there's another Notre Dame guy who could be making his way to Columbia as well. And every team in the country wants this kid, but he does like the Gamecocks. So, we'll kind of see. They're still a couple of arms short in my mind. I think that with all due respect to the young man who's transferring in from Liberty,
he's just a piece. Yeah.
They gotta, I know he throws hard, but they gotta go find some guys who can step in and pitch. Now with that said, like this kid coming from Liberty, well, guess who's also coming from Liberty? Matt Williams. So what is that going to look like? Which is interesting. Oh, you were leaving me and now I'm here too. And what is their relationship like? I know there's a kind of a lot of stuff behind the curtain there. So we'll kind of see how that unfolds, but yeah, they still need to go sign a couple of dudes, but having Matt Williams come with you, he's recruited a ton of guys who have gone and signed elsewhere, South Carolina, Clemson, North Carolina, big schools, right? Bigger, better schools in places like Liberty. Now he's going to have a level playing field, being the pitch coach for the Gamecocks. So the portal over the next couple of months will be interesting. The high school stuff is going to be interesting as well. We're not going to see that for a while, though. It's going to take some time to build those classes. The portal's instant. So over the next couple of months, it'll be interesting to see what changes as they work to continue rebuilding the 24 roster.
Yeah, I agree. And, baseball portal stretches out for a while, man. I didn't know. I continue to learn more about this stuff. I think it goes to the end of July with the draft and stuff. So it's like new math, figuring out the baseball portal. But I tell you, I wouldn't follow it as closely if it weren't for Carolina Rise, because of all that. But I'm having a good time following it. I love recruiting, obviously. And baseball is a little different than football and basketball, obviously, because of the scholarship situation. But yeah. I'm enjoying following it, to be frank. But man, I've been enjoying everything about this baseball program for a while. So,
well, and hey, going back to, and I know we got to hit a timeout here. We have plenty of football on the way, guys. We'll turn that page in just a minute. But going back to something that Coach Lake said on Friday. Almost every other school in the country, unless you're in the World Series right now, has turned the page, and they're doing their top 10 countdown list of football season, greatest ball boys of all time and top 10 atmospheres and, hottest coaches' wives and all these other stupid things that nobody cares about. But we're still talking about college baseball, and good for us because that means people care about the program and want to see South Carolina do the things that we know they're capable of doing. So, that's the Word on the street for now, John Whittle will add more to that conversation in less than an hour on Inside the Gamecocks, this show. TheBarndominiumCo.com is where you can build your dream home as low as $160 per square foot. These things are awesome. They are so cool. And I know a few of you have reached out to their office to get some ideas about homes that you can build on property that you either own or are buying. We certainly appreciate that. I know that they do too. And you'll be in one of the most unique housing situations in our country. They're one of the U.S.'s best builders, thebarndominiumco.com. All right, timeout. Football next inside the game. Electric Bikes of Charleston offers the most fun you'll ever have on two wheels. Magnum, Velotric, Aventon bikes, and more. And they sell to consumers all across the state and offer outstanding warranties and service after the sale. 5 levels of pedal assist plus a throttle help you handle the southern heat better, but still get great exercise. Bikes are available all ages and sizes. ElectricBikesCharleston.com or stop into their store in Mount Pleasant. Electric Bikes of Charleston, powering Inside the Gamecocks, the show.
Bikes are Charleston! Electric Bikes of Charleston! Electric Bikes of Charleston! Electric Bikes of Charleston! Bikes of Charleston!
I don't know who you are. I don't know what you want. If you're looking for a karaoke partner, I can tell you, I can't carry a tune in a bucket. But what I do have is a very specific set of skills. Hang up now, and your IT nightmares will continue. But stay on the line, and I will find you. And when I find you, I will fix it. Thanks. I think I have the wrong number. I'm trying to call Matt at Heritage Digital. He has a one price, low cost turnkey solution for all my IT needs. And I'm sick and tired of my IT guy. So yeah, 843-699-1001. This is 1002. Oh, well, thanks anyway. Don't be taken by some IT dude that talks a big game. Give Matt at Heritage Digital a call, 843-699-1001.
Golfers and wannabe golfers, former Gamecock golfer Meredith Taylor is now a full-time golf instructor in the Midlands of South Carolina. In-person golf lessons are held at the Country Club of Lexington. Half-hour, hour, on course 9 or 18 holes. And if you're outside of South Carolina, Meredith conducts virtual lessons. Just send in your golf swing for analysis. Gift cards are available for in-person 1-hour lessons. Connect on Twitter at Mayor Taylor and find her online at McKellarEnterprises.org. Her email is on the website. Schedule your next lesson today with Meredith Taylor, former Gamecock golfer.
Hey Gamecock fans, it's Evan Stone from Gamecock Baseball. A couple of painters paint the show garnet and black every day and get the job done right at a fair cost. Go to letmepaintsomething.com for information and an estimate. Go Cox.
You heard Evan Stone, Gamecock fans. 10% off for military repeat customers or mention the show. Interior, exterior painting, fencing, cabinet staining, concrete painting, popcorn ceiling removal, and more. 803-522-6832. LetMePaintSomething.com.
Don't you know, no. From the littlest chick to the big old cock, it's the gift. Here comes the West.
Danny Hill. He'll run. Touchdown. Oh, watch him celebrate now.
You're top of the food, star of the show. You're used to who's born to pro. Well, I bet you wonder when you win.
Welcome back, everybody, inside the Gamecocks, the show. First hour of the show, obviously, brought to you by Cindy Searfoss, Coldwell Banker Kane Realty Team, 864-414-5271. And football.
I got to answer a question in here. Actually, let me answer a couple of questions here, but let me answer a very important one here for Cam. 75 days until kickoff, Cam.
I saw that.
75 days until kickoff, okay? 75 days until all of you get to hug JC and grab his pudgy little cheeks and tell him how cute he is and all that stuff in Charlotte before we kick it off up there. Can't wait for that.
That's right. Give his hair a ruffle.
While we're talking sports, Craig's going to have a couple of personal conversations over here. I know he had one earlier about his golf game. Now he's going to have a beach conversation with Clint. So y'all just skip over them in the chat box and let them send their beach photos back and forth to each other.
They've been on vacation. Yeah, they haven't seen each other in a while. Yeah, y'all catch up. Go ahead.
Yeah, y'all go ahead. Yeah, y'all go ahead. Yeah. Cam, the Bama shortstop is Monty and King. We'll meet with him today, and we'll see what comes out of that. They're in a good spot there. They feel pretty good about that. Might not work out, but they're in a pretty good spot there, and they feel good about it. And I missed something earlier, but it's no big deal. So
it was the Liberty pitcher, and Parker thought he could fix something. That's interesting because now, I mean,
well, yeah, I mean,
that's pretty interesting right there. But
yeah. Ed's question too.
Yeah.
How solid is Lemo's job? Well, Kings is more solid than Lemo's. Getting to a super regional puts you in a pretty good spot. Missing the postseason after winning the national championship just 2 years ago. So yeah, it's he had to fire Fox. It's a tough spot over there, right now. And that is one of the reasons why they said, here's what we're willing to give Justin Parker. And everybody's like, oh my God, go pay a pitching coach. What? Yeah. Basically, here's have all the money you need. And I'm not so sure, by the way, that if that was matched by South Carolina, that it wouldn't have been up another substantial amount of money. I mean, they're literally that's where they are right now in Starkville. Fix this crap. We just won a national championship. Fix it.
Yeah, that's why I thought, some of this narrative that Ray didn't, pony up the dough or whatever is kind of maybe a little missing the mark there, because this is the equivalent of a caged animal hire down there at Mississippi State. I mean, this is a desperation move. We got to have one of the best in the business to come in here to help fix this from Lemo's point, because it's like his seat's hot. I mean, it's not just warm, but you can't win it all and then not even make the postseason in a big time program like that and not feel some discomfort
2 years in a row.
Backside, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And that's in a lot. And this year's Mississippi State team could hit the ball. What was the problem?
They could pitch.
Yeah, can't pitch.
And I've heard some of the reasons too. It ain't good. You gotta fix that.
Yeah.
Someone's got to come in with some structure. And I'm not trying to throw Scott Foxhall under the bus, because Scott Foxhall is one of the nicest, coolest humans ever. He's going to be a great pitching coach again somewhere. It just fell apart over there. Cam, does Carolina have a shot with Billy Amick? Yes, they do. JC, camp is rolling. By the way, Friday night I had our family out on Kiowa for Music on the Green, and I looked to my left, and 5 feet away was Miss Emily Beamer and her children. So we sat there and talked for a while, and that was neat. I said, "Where's Shane?" And she said, "He's at camp," with an eye roll. And I said, "Oh my God, camp never ends." Forgot all about it.
It was their anniversary weekend too, so I bet you got a solid eye roll on that one.
Well, I asked her, I said, is he coming to town? And she said, yeah, he's going to try to get in tomorrow night and spend, Sunday here. And I said, well, tell him I said hello or whatever. But and she mentioned the anniversary thing. I said, so I'm assuming if he's going to blow in for 24 hours and get back out of here, he probably isn't playing a lot of golf. And she goes, yeah, probably not. So coaches have wives like we do. But she was as sweet as they come. But she reminded me we had camp, JC. Any word from what happened in camp? And I know a huge recruiting weekend is just ahead.
Yeah, it's coming up. I mean, these camps, and I heard similar from some of my contacts with the program. It's like these camps have been brutally, like a bunch. It's like 4 camps in 2 days. And, so these are kind of the dog days for coaches, and you throw official visits on top of that. June is an extremely busy month in college football, whereas it used to just be camp. And now you have with the way Beamer recruits and as aggressive as they are, and as it's not like the Spurrier era where you'd have one big elite camp day, so to speak. and you have 7-on-7. And other than that, it was tough to cover almost because there just wasn't a lot. There wasn't droves of kids coming in and out. Now Muschamp got a lot of guys in and out. It was more of an evaluation process, and then with Beamer, it's been like Muschamp on steroids as far as getting everybody in and out. So there's guys coming in each and every day. I tell you, the one thing to look for when you're talking about these camps is 2025, 2026 in-state guys that they identify early. Kelvin Hunter, for example, 4-star guy, committed to Carolina from Florence. I think the first two camps they did when things opened up after the pandemic, Torian Gray offered him. And so when the Oregons and Tennessees and Floridas and everybody else of the world came in and offered him, Gamecocks were way ahead already. And so that's some of it's preventative in terms of, hey, you get in early, build that relationship, other teams can't catch up. But it's nothing big. I'm trying to, I guess, Bink's asking about the JUCO kid. I need to ask Hale about it because I don't know. First I've heard of that. But admittedly, this morning I wasn't like catching up on football recruiting. I was sort of catching up on some other stuff. So, but yeah, it's and it's fun. And the high school coaches say a lot of good things about the camps these days at Carolina and stuff like that. There was a specialist camp this past weekend. So Limbo's evaluating the long snappers and punters and kickers of the future and all that. So it is a busy time. And then, you have, the big official visit weekend this weekend. And my goodness, that's big, obviously. And then they did have an official visitor this past weekend. I'm not sure where the Gamecocks stand. This is a guy that sort of up in the Dexter's Dante Reno knows. Two-way lineman, 6'5", 260, ranked 24/7 Sports Composite has him as a top 100 guy in the country, number 95 overall.
Yeah.
And the Gamecocks had him in. So and that was his final official visit. Wisconsin and Penn State are the other two choices. And we'll see. We'll see what happens with him. He is obviously, looking at him, I would guess defense, Travian Robertson's recruiting him. So I would guess they like him on defense better than offense right now. But he could play either spot. And his name's Liam Andrews. That's a lineman name right there. Liam Andrews.
Yes,
it's a Scottish name too. Give me Liam. Put Liam Andrews on the phone now. Play the bagpipes for him. But it's one of those things. But it kind of a surprise visit. I don't know. Talking to some people up there that cover it for us, they don't really. They haven't really sat there and gone, South Carolina can get this guy. Maybe they can, maybe they can't. But the official visit, obviously, from what I was told, went very well. They feel like they're right there. So it's another one of those shoot your shot. Competition's thick. But, you do have the Dante Reno factor there. And, getting a defensive lineman from Massachusetts, it's different,
Yeah.
O-line is not so different, but D-line's different. But I like this kid on film. He's tough, moves around really well. So if the Gamecocks end up, pulling a surprise and getting him, that's great. That he was the only one on campus. So everybody was, he got everybody's attention this weekend.
Yeah. Offensive linemen from Massachusetts generally, Phil, they don't end up in Columbia, South Carolina, but like this past weekend, it became public that Fred Johnson, the linebacker out of Norfolk, is coming here as well. And again, I mean, we've known this for a little while, JC. So that wasn't earth-shattering news. But I think what's important in the conversation is that it's another kid from that way. Like, I'm just saying that way as in, like, look northeast. And it's like they started there, right? I mean, we knew when Shane got here, just like Coach Muschamp said, just like Coach Spurrier said, everybody, we knew they were going to have to recruit Florida. Duh. We knew they were going to have to recruit Atlanta. Duh. We knew they were going to have to recruit Charlotte. duh. But then they started, you point this out all the time, this inroad up to the Delmarva area, D.C., the Delmarva area, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, for those wondering what that means. And it's like it's almost like they got in a little room and it was like, well, you know, why stop there? Let's just keep going. I mean, there's
going, just, you know, yeah.
Pennsylvania, Massachusetts. Next thing you know, we're gonna have a safety out of Maine. You know, some kid from Newfoundland. I mean, it really is. Is there another SEC team that recruits that heavily in that area of the country? Because I can't think of one.
They all spot recruited. Alabama, when Lance Thompson was there recruiting for them, and then it continued for a few years after him, and they got some elite guys out of Northern Virginia. South Carolina, Northern Virginia has not, for this staff. Eric Wolford did a good job up there. He got Ja'Kai Moore. He got Vershawn Lee. They're both obviously still here. And then Jesus Gibbs is another guy he got that ended up leaving after a month. And then now he's at Towson State. Is going to probably play in the NFL on the defensive line. He may have gotten drafted, or he may already be maybe gone from there. Or maybe he got in the portal. I don't know. Anyway, those were three quality guys. This kid, Fred Johnson, is from the Virginia Beach, Hampton Roads area, which is a famous recruiting area through time. Percy Harvin is a guy that came out of there. Allen Iverson, basketball guy, right? His football tape, if you ever turn it on, probably a better football player. You know, just that sounds crazy, but Michael Vick, obviously. E.J. Manuel, who played at Florida State's from there. All those kids that started Virginia Tech, 80% of them were from there, and Frank Beamer made a living there. It is the closest area to South Virginia. South Carolina is the closest SEC school to that part of the country. If you can go in there and get guys, and they're doing well in the D.C., Maryland area. I don't know what happens when they cross the Potomac, you know, to Virginia, but the kids on the other side love Carolina, obviously. And I always kind of thought, you know, if you're going to do it, if you're going to take a shot at expanding the recruiting base, and they've expanded it west, done well west, going west too. And that's what surprised me almost the most is I never thought it was maybe worth your, you know, once you get to Mississippi, you're competing with all those Western Division, what used to be the Western Division schools and all that. But, you know, I think working north-south, if you're South Carolina, that makes a lot of sense. That's a lot of area. Miami to Maine is what I've always said. And there's just a lot of players up and down that road. And, you know, it makes sense. The competition's different up there. It's more fighting Penn State for guys, Ohio State, you know, the Big Ten. But, you know, you could offer them something different, the SEC, and closer to home. And there's a ton of students that the university has from that area. It's always been that way. So I think what's exciting about Fred Johnson is, yeah, Clint says Ronald Curry. There's another guy, 757, Dre Bly. In North, you know, I think what's exciting about this is once you get established inroads in 757, and I don't know that Fred Johnson's going to be the last commit from there. It's my opinion. This cycle, you can start getting other guys, and you can make South Carolina the SEC destination for those kids, and that's just a huge talent pocket. I mean, when you're in a state the size of South Carolina, you're going to find guys in state, and you're going to always have, you know, about 25-30% of your roster is going to be from in-state. But you got to supplement that with kids from elsewhere, and the 757 puts out a ton of NFL guys. So does Maryland and D.C. You just got to get them here. So the exciting part of it is they may have kind of broken the seal, so to speak, on the 757 with Fred Johnson. And I think he's a hell of a player. I think 6'3", 225, runs 4.54. He's that long, lengthy linebacker that Clayton White likes, sort of like the other one, Wendell Gregory, they have. And so that's two big, lengthy linebackers to go along with Pup Howard that you got in the last class. So they keeping rocking and rolling.
I love the name Fred Johnson.
I like it too, but he's got the quotations, you know, JR in his name. So does he go by JR? I wonder.
I don't know, but I also like people who give their dogs double names. Like, this is my dog Fred Johnson. Oh, hello Fred. Yeah, this is my dog. This is John Smith, my dog. Oh, okay, John.
I've got a buddy literally.
I also have Emmett Fitzhugh.
Yeah, I played with a guy in college that got a dog. He named it Damn It. And so he'd be like, get off the couch, damn it. Oh, okay. Damn it, sit.
Boy, that would confuse my children.
Pretty brilliant stuff. Pretty brilliant stuff. He was from Manning, South Carolina, so I didn't put it past him when he told me he really did that. I thought, well, that sounds about right for beautiful Manning. So, all right, hour one's in the books. Whittle's going to join us. Question on the board about the third assistant job with South Carolina. Yeah, I know what's going to happen with it, and John, I think, does too. So we'll get to that. We do have – this is a huge weekend in recruiting. When we get back, I'm going to get JC to compare the summer of 22 to the summer of 23. A little bit different from a number standpoint. Why is that? Maybe he's got the answer. We'll see. We'll be right back.
What's up, Gamecock fans? This is Pitcher Noah Hall. If you want some delicious food for your event, I suggest visiting nanasporch.com today to find out what they all have to offer. It's really good Southern cuisine based out of Charlotte, my hometown. I hope you guys go check it out. Go Cox and go Nanas.
Are you looking to buy a new home? Kevin O'Connell with Union Home Mortgage is a local mortgage expert and Gamecocks fan servicing North and South Carolina. Whether you're buying a home, building your dream home with new construction, or turning your equity into cash, UHM's world-class service will ensure you find the perfect mortgage to achieve your home ownership goals. Call Kevin at 803-906-0244 or visit UHM.com today. Union Home Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS 2229, LONMLS 1772182.
Electric Bikes of Charleston offers the most fun you'll ever have on two wheels. The home of Ovington, Velotric, Magnum Bikes, and more, they sell to consumers all across the state and offer outstanding warranties and service after the sale. Their electric bikes are equipped with 5 levels of pedal assist plus a throttle, so you can ride longer, handle the heat better, but still get great exercise. Bikes are available for all ages and sizes. Visit electricbikescharleston.com or stop into their store in Mount Pleasant if you're in the Low Country. Electric Bikes of Charleston, powering inside the Gamecocks, the show.
Hey everyone, this is Jack Mahoney from Gamecock Baseball, and Inside the Gamecocks, the show is teed up every day by travelingcountryclub.com. So if y'all love golf, make sure you guys go check out their awesome membership options, and go Cox.
Welcome to travelingcountryclub.com, your modern golf club experience. Hey folks, this is Michael Manus, former Gamecock golfer, inviting you to play more golf with a membership to travelingcountryclub.com. With over 40 courses across the Carolinas, our membership provides you with an affordable way to enjoy a club-like golf experience. From the mountains to the coast, we offer golf courses that will challenge all types of golfers, no matter your handicap level or level of play. Plus, we offer unique membership benefits not seen anywhere else as part of Traveling Country Club. In July, we're excited to bring to you the 3rd annual Plunder on Pawleys 2-day golf tournament, with rounds played at Caledonia and True Blue golf courses in the heart of Pawleys Island. Head to travelingcountryclub.com to register for that event, and it is not exclusive to TCC members, but to become one, you can sign up and bring to life your golf game. Tee it up with Traveling Country Club, travelingcountryclub.com, travelingcountryclub.com, proud partners of Inside the Gamecocks, the show.
This is Zachary Davis from Carolina Hoops, and you're watching the show with JB, JC, and Phil. Go Cox.
And we're back, hour 2, Inside the Gamecocks, the show, here on a Monday. Let's see, which one of these places do we want to hit here first?
I don't know, but I know the rain's about to hit here.
I know, yeah, we've been dealing with it here. Yeah, I know.
Well,
I just got rid of my kids for 3 days too, and then next thing you know, the damn rain comes. I'm like, well, there goes outside.
It just sucks, man.
We're in a drought up here. Like, it hasn't rained hardly at all.
We'll send someone down here with a bucket.
Yeah, we can ship some up your way for sure.
We're about to get just. I mean, luckily, I spent 3 days like in the water, out in the boat, at the pool, playing golf, wherever. Because from what I understand, this whole week is going to be stuck inside. So I can't wait for that. JC, we have 2 commitments in June this year. How many? Remind me, what was the? It was a large number. What was the number last June?
Oh, gosh.
It was in the double digits.
10, 11 guys, yeah.
Yeah, it was up there.
And some of them straggled through until like July. Like Dontavius Braswell. Remember that? Over the 4th of July. He released the top 4. I'm glad that hasn't become a precedent.
Yeah.
Because at that point, that's when I start saying, nah, I'm not going to. I don't think I'll like not spoil your moments that you're screwing with everybody and all that. But he released, for those who don't know, Braswell released the top 4, didn't have Carolina in it, and they committed to Carolina. So very clever surprise there for Dontavius. But I remember that being July 4th because we were on our way to Tennessee when I was on the phone and all that was happening. But yeah, some straggle through to the first week of July that visit in June. But yeah, during that time, I mean, it's been commit city. The difference this year, though, guys, and I'll remind everybody of it, is that Carolina is in on a lot more guys that have a lot more options. And this just it's big boy recruiting, man. You just got to put your pants on and go to work and get your share. So I wouldn't freak out about, I mean, the kid from Dublin, Georgia that committed to Florida this weekend. If you want to be concerned, I would be concerned if I'm the Gamecocks about how Florida's racking up defensive line talent right now, because you don't want those boys to. But then again, they're always good. Florida always has athletes. So, but hats off to Coach Napier for getting some dudes, really, especially on the D line. But losing Nasir Johnson was not something that was unexpected. The Jordan Thomas news going to Georgia, that stings just because of his connections. But hey, they're the 2-time defending national champs and have sent a bunch of guys to the NFL. And so you just got to tip your cap and move on with that. But I do think Carolina's going to sign a really good D-line class when all is said and done with all that. Krager asked, how you doing with Jalua Solomon? Oh, gosh, where did he visit visit Auburn over the weekend?
Yeah,
I think so. They're in really good shape, but like I said, it's a battle. Probably Florida State's the team that they're looking at battling, and then Auburn and some others. So we'll see sort of what happens. I do want to, before I go any further, give a birthday shout out to Cam Steddings. Today he's 11, I believe. Hopefully, Josh, I'm saying that right. He's 11. And he listens to the show every single day, and so does Josh. Josh is quad cock. For those of you that don't know, he gets in. I think he's called quad cock when he gets into or maybe it's Josh Steddings. I don't know. But anyway, Josh is a teacher in the upstate, really good friend of mine. And I told him, I was like, I don't know if, are you sure kids can handle this show? 'Cause sometimes we get a little off the trail. And he's like, yeah, he knows, but he listens every single day. So Cam, salute to you. Happy birthday. You have a wonderful father, a wonderful family. You're a blessed kid. And it's an honor to give you a shout out here.
Yeah, man. Happy birthday. He's how old?
Happy
11.
birthday.
So 11. I'm pretty sure it's 11.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
And so there's that. But football recruiting, it's it is a big weekend coming up. As far as player, I mean, Dylan Stewart obviously is the headliner. I mean, let's.
Is there any chance at all? And by the way, Hale will be here with us tomorrow too. Is there any chance at all that Dylan Stewart makes a commitment while he's in town?
I think the timeline would be more towards July on that. But
he wants
is there
to
a chance
sooner than later, right?
Yeah. So
yeah,
I think let
me re-ask that. That's a ridiculous question. How likely is it that Dylan Stewart would commit while on an official visit to South Carolina this weekend?
Well, if we're talking about silent commits, it's possible. That's what I would say. It's possible. I don't know that he'll go public with it. But there's some other guys coming in that are, that probably a little closer to committing than Dylan. Dylan's still an all-out holy war. I mean, Carolina may not get him. I mean, I kind of feel confident that they will. But, I actually feel a little better about him than Nick Harbor. Maybe it's because they made a believer out of me with Nick Harbor, but and it's another DC kid, but it's it's still a war with him. Here are the guys though coming in this weekend that you can get over the top with. Jonathan Paylor, 4-star guy, number 11 quote unquote athlete in the country. They call him the Missile. We talked about areas of the country that the Gamecocks need to establish some footholds in earlier. That triad area of North Carolina, I think the Stadnick twins were the last group of guys they got out of that area, and it was
really
Quinn Smith, I think, was from that area. But that Gamecocks have never really done all that much in that that stretch of 85. Going up through Greensboro, Winston-Salem, and over towards when you're going towards Durham. Burlington's right in the middle of from between Greensboro and Chapel Hill, Durham, Raleigh, and all that. Burlington Coat Factory, shout out. Anyway, hey, I love the Burlington Coat Factory, man. My mom loves it too. Anyway, shout out to Marty, my mom. Anyway, Daniel Daniel Hill is coming in from Meridian, Mississippi. Everybody loves to talk about the running back position. Well, here's your stud running back. He's a top 200 prospect. A lot of schools still after him, but he's been a lean to Carolina. I mean, I can't remember a time where a kid comes off of a visit to LSU and starts talking about how much he loves South Carolina. So there you go. But they've got him kind of teed up as well as a heavy lean. And then David Bucci from Savannah Christian Prep. He's been on the record saying I'll probably go up there and commit, on my visit. So that could be one that actually does happen on the official visit. And then you got the guys that you got to keep committed, like Braden Lee from up there in DC, the corner. You got Mazio Bennett, you got Wendell Gregory coming in. The Twin Towers, Pringle and Thompson, are coming in this weekend. So Dante Rito will be there. So you got a lot of your known guys coming in as well for this weekend. And then there'll be a cookout later this summer where and then recruiting will sort of wrap for a while. But
that's July, right?
Yeah, there's a lot going. Yeah, and I heard the other day they may have a cookout like in June, but that didn't make much sense to me because I'm like, you're heading into a holiday weekend, the next weekend or whatever. But maybe they will. Maybe it's a small gathering or whatever. But there's definitely one on the books for July. They have it every single year, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. So but I think that yeah.
I know they feel really good about Daniel Hill. If they get a commitment from this kid, that will be consecutive years signing a top 250 running back in there. So Braswell last year, I think, wrapped up at 247. This kid, I mean, we don't know where it's going to be. It's June. These numbers changed often, but right now he'd be inside of the top 200, if not maybe eventually a little bit higher. It's pretty good, being able to sign guys like that.
Yeah, Clint asked if there's schools recruiting Hill as a running back or linebacker and thinks he's a better linebacker than running back. Maybe. I mean, look, man, I thought I've done that before and been right, and I've done that before and been wrong when I'm trying to, I think he's a better this than that. But it's, Alabama was recruited as a running back, but I think Alabama's full. I think that's the situation there. But, he did have a window where he could have committed
as a running back
to Alabama. Yeah. I mean, he's the type of guy too.
I'll stop there then. I'm not going to question it.
I mean,
he
he's
play
the type
running
of
back
guy
at Bama. Probably can do that here.
Robert Gillespie liked him as a running back. So, but he's also a guy too that if you're Alabama, he's from right down the road. You signed a bunch of 5-star guys, and then they got another commit from another 5-star guy at running back. You bring him in, you let him compete.
Well, that's shocking.
And you may move him to linebacker. I mean, it's just Alabama. It's a different situation. South Carolina needs a guy to come in and play. But I like Hill. He's physical. Kind of reminds me a little bit of the guy I mentioned the other day that played for Georgia, Danny Ware, who if Danny Ware had not had injuries throughout his career, I think he did have a cup of coffee in the NFL. That's back in the early 2000s. That's 20 years ago. God almighty, I'm getting old. But I like him. I think he's a power back with enough speed to where if he breaks in the open field, you're not catching him. He's got good vision, good footwork. all those things that go into being good at that position. And then I love Jonathan Paylor. I mean, they call him the missile for a reason. He's not huge, but he's stout, for 5'9", 175, and plays all over the place for them. Some people have compared him to Ace Sanders. Ace was actually smaller than 5'9". He was 5'7" coming in, but he's a guy that can play. And so I think you get him up to like 190 and get in the ball in space, and he's going to make a lot of plays for you. And those two have been right on the verge, and Stewart's been, giving the staff good feedback as well. So it's a big weekend. And look, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that this list that everybody's reporting is final either. There could be some surprises, just like there was a couple of weeks ago where guys come in that, you didn't necessarily have scheduled. So, gosh, one of those weekends, I kind of wish I was in Columbia, because that would be, it'd be good to kind of, go kind of keep my ear to the ground about things, but I'm not. But we had other guys to be there. Who do I like better, Hill or Russell? I like Hill better. I think Russell's what I would call a luxury item kind of guy. Is he going to be Brandon Jacobs, or is he going to get too big to play running back? And that's my question about him. So primary competition, like you asked earlier, for Russell is Tennessee, and then of course staying in state and re-upping with Arkansas. But I was told about him specifically, the Gamecocks feel like Dowell Loggins can eventually turn that thing in their favor. He was kind of a new guy. I think they had an offer out to him, but the visit and all that good stuff sort of took place. But I also think Tennessee is right there as well. And if they get Russell and Lewis, and the Gamecocks get Fuller and Hill, hey, we'll see who's better here in a couple of years. I don't know the answer to that, because I liked Lewis a lot, but I would if I'm looking at it, Clint, I'm going with Hill over Russell, just because I would be concerned Russell's gets to be 250 pounds and would lose a step, because he's not Derrick Henry. I mean, as you mentioned earlier, so. Which is a running back I was wrong about. I thought Derrick would probably play outside linebacker, but he proved me wrong and proved everybody else wrong time and time again.
Phil, I'll never understand it. Every running back that's discussed, he's too small. He's too big. There isn't a perfect one out there for these Gamecocks. I tell you what, I tell you what.
I don't even know what
are
that
we even doing
zone is.
I mean, someone get Shane in the someone get Shane, put him and his staff in the the science room over here, and let's just create an A1 running back so everybody's happy. Too big, too small.
I think Hill and Fuller fine. I mean, size wise, I don't know. With Russell, maybe he stays at 230 and this is a beast. And I'm eating my words, but just comparing him and Hill, I'd probably lean more towards Hill, just because of my concerns. But yeah, you're right. Everybody wants the prototype, right? And there's really not one
so
at that
funny.
Position.
It's so funny to hear.
By the way, I went back and watched the spring game this weekend. Well,
that sounds
for detail. And don't count Mario Anderson out just yet. He did some things where
I don't know why anybody's counted him out from day one. I keep trying to tell you he's going to play.
Man, he's
going to play.
He's running physical. A lot of the issues with him getting stuffed were blocking issues, which when you're running in like half your O-line is the second string and half of it's the first string, that happens. But I like him still. I'm not ready to, and the whole thing was, and look, honestly, during practice, yes, the staff was like, well, he needs to continue to adjust to the speed of the game. He probably didn't adjust as quickly as he wanted to, but there's still time. And I saw some things in the spring game that I was like, I'll reassess this, because and Joyner too. Joyner actually runs pretty physical. I mean, he trucked a guy one time. Yeah. And looked natural doing it. So I'm not, I'm going to kind of back off of the, oh my God, what are they going to do at running back kind of thing for now. I mean, obviously I've always said they just need to stay healthy, and they do, but, and block. But I think if they stay healthy and block, I don't think there's any reason why Carolina can't be good enough at running it to where, their passing game, teams can't just scheme up to stop the pass, because what you do, if Gamecocks are good at throwing it and can't run it a lick, they'll get in this big old umbrella zone and flood the zone. And Spencer will, it gets to be a mess. Then they'll rush 3. And if your backs aren't good enough and your run game isn't good enough, you still can't run the ball against a favorable box. And that's the key for this year with the offense and the run game specifically. You got to, when they give you the run, you got to be able to take advantage of it. Because if you don't, kind of like against Notre Dame second half, we all loved that football game and it was a classic. But South Carolina actually, got one dimensional and got tore up that second half because they couldn't do anything about it, except for that one Spencer throw. So you got to be able to continue to run the football in certain positions. So,
well, I think that the public is a little bit more concerned about the running back group than they are internally. I'll just leave it at that.
I'll give you that.
They're not. They would, of course, like it to be a little bit better, but they're not freaking out over the guys that they have.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong. Shoot, Logan Diggs is a no-brainer.
No doubt.
Even though I think LSU did a lot of good recruiting for him, about their depth chart. Oh, well, these guys were hurt and whatever. Yeah, but they're all supposed to be back, right? Right. Even though that happened, I still think. I think comparing him to some of the backs LSU has, he's going to get his share of carries next year down there, period.
Yeah.
And he'll be in Williams-Brice in 2 years if he doesn't go pro. But I do think that Bruin says, be honest, JC, you just wanted to see Lenoris again and dream of next year in the spring game. I did watch me some Lenoris Sellers. I did. Boy, that guy, when he takes, he's so quick with the run. Running the zone read, he'll like the way he cuts, and then he's got speed and size. He's unbelievable, baby. Oh my God, he's a diaper dandy. Oh, that's kind of like Andrew Dice Clay meets Dick Vitale. Hickory dickory dock, Dick. Oh yeah, baby.
Yeah.
I'll never forget Andrew Dice Clay opened for Guns N' Roses, and I was there with Ryan Bartow, who all of you hate there in Gamecock land. He's one of my best friends, by the way. Love him to death.
But he hates the Gamecocks, though. So
if any of you ever talk to him, you would get a better idea about where if anything, what he does, he gravitates towards name brand programs and location and stuff like that. If he has a bias. But and I don't even think it's a bias. I think it's just more, he's from Wisconsin. So we watched the Capital One Bowl together a few years ago. So if you want to know like who he quote unquote it's the team from the motherland, Wisconsin. So anyway, enough about Bartow. David Bucci, Isaiah. Yes, we talked about him. I think he'll commit. He's the first. If you want to lay up as to who's going to commit this weekend, that it would be him. In fact, I'm probably going to put a crystal ball in for him.
There you go, crystal ball.
But
I'm putting one in for Dylan Stewart and Daniel Hill and Joe Montana Jr. All right, we got to hit a quick timeout. John Whittle is going to step in here in just a little bit.
Speaking of that, I covered Joe Montana's kid when I was at ESPN. I was at a high school football game in Seattle. Joe Montana, Wayne Gretzky, and Will Smith's kid were all on the same team, and they were all there. Now, I had a BlackBerry then and not a dang iPhone. It was in 09 or 08, and so I didn't get a picture. Of course, I think I'd have been maybe violating some rules. ESPN didn't really care, though.
Should have had your wind-up Polaroid camera then, but you didn't.
2 years later, I got the Snoop Picasso back there. But anyway, that was –
I picked Dan Marino up off the floor one time. I don't have a picture of that, though. He would not be thrilled.
I saw Andy McDowell at the Maurice's Barbecue in Irmo in 2001 on my way to the Boise State opener with my buddy Skip.
I also saw Allen Iverson at Harris Cherokee Casino in Cherokee, North Carolina, and he wasn't thrilled that someone said Mr. Iverson, we have your tables ready. He was actually very unhappy about that. All right, we got to go to break. John Whittle will jump in here just a little bit on the news from Gamecock Baseball right here on Inside the Gamecocks, the show.
If you're in the upstate of South Carolina and are in need of residential real estate services, Cindy Bass Searfoss of Caldwell Banker Kane is for you. Ask her about the village at Creekside, all of her listings in my hometown of Spartanburg, South Carolina, right there on Daniel Morgan Avenue, married to a lifelong Gamecock fan. And many of our listeners have already bought homes from her and been 100% satisfied with the detail and care she uses. Cindy Searfoss, 864-414-5271, Caldwell Banker Kane in the upstate for your real estate needs.
Coach O here, and when I'm not eating average jambalaya or celebrating endless summer in Destin, I like to eat pimento cheese straight off the bucket. And the only pimento cheese I like to eat is from Nana's Porch. It's award-winning. It'll melt in your mouth. It's good on a cracker. It's good in a bowl. It's good on a piece of bread. Also, don't forget Nana's Porch has a hell of a food truck. It's award-winning as well, and they're here for all of your catering needs. So get online, nanasporch.com. It's good. Coach O signing off. Endless summer, go Tiger.
The preferred sign partner of Gamecock Athletics is Signorama Columbia, and they should be yours too. A full-service sign company that handles design, production, install, and service, Signorama Columbia has helped to bring to life the perfect vision for so many all across South Carolina. Owned and operated by proud Gamecock alumni, they can handle all types of signage, including interior and exterior, vehicle graphics, and more. Go to Signorama.com and find the West Columbia location, or call them at 803-407-9284. Bring your brand to life with Signorama Columbia, and go Gamecocks.
Hey man, are you sick and tired of your business computer guy?
Yes, he takes forever to call me back and doesn't always respond to the requests.
Yeah, same here. I'm paying him good money. I constantly have issues, and I'm worried he's not backing up my network and securing it properly.
You know what, Phil? Let's ask Stone Blanton.
Hey, JC and Phil, if you want a solution to your IT problems, give Heritage Digital a call. Our boy Matt Odom has a low-cost, one-price solution that will get you running right. Call 843-699-1001 or heritagedigital.com and ask for Matt. He will hook you up today and tell them Stone sent you.
This is Cole Messina from the Yardcocks. Electric Bikes of Charleston powers Inside the Gamecocks, the show. Be sure to check them out online or in Mount Pleasant. Go Gamecocks.
You got to turn your mic on to talk, Phil.
Yep.
However you want to do it, though. We have lip leaders around here. Lip readers.
I don't know. There's so much going on in my kitchen right now that I've been trying to protect the show from the noises coming from downstairs.
Well, that's all right. We'll have noises coming from John Whittle here soon. He's covering a tournament today as well, but he's going to pop in and continue our conversation of Gamecock baseball and some of the changes that are being made, although none is quote-unquote official. It's pretty much official. To that question earlier, by the way, on the third paid assistant job, they're going to make that a kind of a recruiting coordinator job. It is a job that that is going to be so they're going to the third paid assistant, right, in less than 2 weeks. That's a change in college baseball. And to kind of structure things the way they feel like they need to be structured, I say they, not just South Carolina schools all over the country, they're going to make that more of a recruiting specific position. So there's probably, you'll see a lot of change when schools start announcing what they're going to do. You'll see probably some more movement in coaching because some of the guys that are in those roles now will not be the best fit for what that new role will be. Not that they aren't great coaches, but as JC has just spent the last 30 minutes basically describing, recruiting is a different animal. It's no different in baseball or basketball or anything else. And you got to understand how to structure the guts of it internally. And unless you've really done it, so you'll probably start to see even more movement in coaching here before long. as some of these new positions begin to take place at schools all across the country. That's probably the best way I can answer that. But South Carolina seems to be destined for a recruiting type role, like a Taylor Edwards role of Gamecock baseball, basically.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen.
So somebody who's going to work with JC to facilitate rise deals. Well, okay, yeah, no.
Well, but also
Taylor can't do that.
This will be a unique spot though, because you will be coaching. Like you will have coaching on your plate, but your main job will be in charge of recruiting.
Yeah, it's like when it used to be like in football, you had like your running backs coach would be your recruiting coordinator. Like Shane Beamer was the recruiting coordinator when he was here under Spurrier. The job in college football in general, especially now when they get the transfer portal, my God, it's too much for an assistant to do. You got to have a guy off the field, so to speak, that heads it up, because there's just too much going on and too much you can miss. If you got to coach a position and all that, that's how that position sort of evolved. If you notice, the last two staffs here have not had anyone on the staff that was named the recruiting coordinator. It was Will Muschamp under Muschamp, and I think it's just nowadays with Beamer, it's Taylor, and the head coach certainly is heavily involved. But anyway, that's kind of how that goes. And if they do it in baseball, I certainly understand it, because like I said, with the portal, everybody's kind of swimming right now. I mean, there's just so much so many to evaluate, so many to get to. You got to move fast. And so that's one of those things. So, yeah.
Yep. There's no question about it. Kevin, I wouldn't go that far just yet. Let's just kind of wait and see how things play out. We are waiting John to jump in here in just a minute. Again, we'll make sure we plug him in to kind of clean up anything that we have been discussing. Did y'all see the U.S. Open yesterday? Either one of you, by the way. Anybody watch U.S. Open?
I caught some of it.
I was pulling for Ricky Fowler, but
I kind of was too when it started. But
yeah. I think there was no disrespect to Wyndham Clark, who won the thing, because I mean he played outstanding golf the whole week, but it was such a deflating Sunday. We were trying to watch it last night. You know, we were eating dinner after playing, and I'm like, Rory or Ricky, come on, one of you guys got to do it. Ricky falls off the wagon. Rory can't hit the big shot. I think Rory's going to be like the best golfer to ever play the game that just didn't win enough majors, and Ricky's going to be the guy that just couldn't freaking win a major, and he should have won like 5 of them. They're close to those cigar guys. It was just, golly, man.
It really was. He just kind of fell off because it just, I don't know. I was keeping up with it a little bit. My wife has this, like, she loves keeping up with the majors. It's funny.
Golf?
Like, she doesn't watch any other golf, but except for the majors, and we'll dedicate hours of the weekend to watch it.
Yeah. Well, like, but then I was like, the guy won. I pulled this profile, Phil. He was born in 1993. I was like, oh my God, it's hard to believe that we're okay. So he's 30 years old, but it's 2023. I just have a difficult time looking at people born in the 90s and born in the 2000s who are winning national championships, winning majors, whatever it may be. I was like, oh, this kid's like 18 years old. Oh, wait, it's 2023. Yeah, no, he's not. He's 30. But anyways, yeah, it was a pretty wild U.S. Open. I know people here only want to talk about football recruiting for the next 18 years and complain about the weeds outside of Williams-Brice Stadium, stuff like that. But there are other things in the sports world that happen, like golf.
Don't forget about the paint at Founders.
Oh, yeah. Somebody bitched about the paint at Founders Park. That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, that was one of them, too. But anyways, JC, if you didn't get a chance to watch it, check out some golf sometime. You'd really enjoy it.
I got to get back down home and get with Meredith and get my swing going, man.
Yeah.
Learn how to play, because I'm terrible. But when I was playing pretty regularly about 20 years ago, I enjoyed it. I mean, it was it's fun. And I wish I'd have done the whole beer per hole thing or beer thing while I was playing. I didn't at the time because I was kind of busy and I just kind of got in 18 with my buddies whenever I could. But nowadays, I think I'd actually play better if I had a beer. Because I relax, because I'm so competitive and I like get tense and stuff. I think it'd be great to maybe try it again with my good friend Miller Lite.
Yeah, we had a guy in our group yesterday too who like doesn't play. When we were playing out on I mean he does, but we were playing out on Seabrook, and you don't have to be able to play, but you got to have some type of etiquette. And he doesn't know. You know what I mean? He doesn't. The little things, just kind of walking across you, when you're trying to line up for a putt, and stopping the cart right at his ball instead of pulling it up around so you don't have to walk back. There's just a lot of just etiquette things. And I of course, had to ride with him. He's a great friend. I love him to death, but we're just laughing the whole time. I'm like, because you don't know what you're doing. You have no idea what you're doing out here. He's using an orange golf ball so he can find it. And the rest of us, we're like, okay, we got 146 in, maybe I should go full 8 here, or maybe a really light 7. The wind's blowing in our face. He's like, well, what do you think I should hit? I'm like, I'm not telling you. If you don't know enough about it, it's your own fault.
Man, I was so bad. I'd buy a box of balls every time I played. I mean, you mentioned the guy, he's playing with an orange ball. You should have
just walked around and scooped him out of the pond and just cleaned them. You're going to lose them again.
I'd go through about half of them, during the thing. And I had this old, I called it the Bear, this old wooden Jack Nicklaus driver that my ex-wife's grandfather gave to me. And I tell you, when I got a hold of it with that thing, it was sweet. And I would also use it on the fairway a little bit as another driver to get it down toward the hole, And then once I was pretty good at chipping around the green, and then I could putt okay. But I was always an adventure with me and my friends. They weren't any good either. My one buddy, we're at Fripp, right? I'm about to play the Fripp course down there. You've played that course before, Jamie, at Fripp Island.
Yep.
And not the ocean course, the other one. And so we're sitting there, we're sitting there on the driving range, warming up. And all of a sudden I see a club fly through the air, end over end, down the driving range. And it was my buddy. And he was like, my other friend let him, he's like, did that just happen? He's like, yeah, hold on, And then one time we were at Fripp and my other friend hit a ball off the tee, and it hit the damn railroad tie like it was a worm burner, right? And this dude's my friend Kevin. He's 6'5", Kevin Cleary. He's 6'5", 270, a big old dude, right? So he got a hold of it. It was a worm burner, and it hits the daggum tie. Railroad tie, and it bounces back across the street and flies through a window of a house. It broke the damn window. but we were the kings of playing through. You guys just play through. Y'all guys play through. Yeah. Go ahead. Y'all
you're that guy.
The kings of letting people play through because we knew we were that good. But we would keep score like Steve Spurrier. No, that's a penalty. So we're out there shooting 175. And he counted up as 173, 176, 177. So very competitive golf matches that took 4 hours. But anyway, that's my golf story.
Well, I mean, that's rookie golf, and it is what it is.
Yeah, I think golf is kind of like bowling in that, there's a sweet spot, right? From number of beers in to how well you're playing. There's some of those sports.
There is a sweet spot.
You gotta find there is a sweet spot.
If you're gonna have one on the course, you better have a few. Don't just have. Yeah, you get stuck in the middle, it's over. So don't.
You gotta commit one way or the other.
Don't do that. Yeah, don't do that. By the way, this guys, the stuff you're hearing Billy Amick Texas A&M. That's not true. So just disregard anything that you hear on that for now. There's a lot of suitors, but Carolina's in it, and Kingston and Monty are up there today to see him in the Cape as well. So disregard all that stuff. All right, let's go ahead and take our final timeout. Still waiting on John. I know he's going to try to get in here any moment. So everybody hang tight. Inside the Gamecocks, the show powered by Electric Bikes of Charleston, electricbikescharleston.com. Make sure you find them there. We'll be right back.
With Union Home Mortgage is a local mortgage expert and Gamecocks fan servicing North and South Carolina. Whether you're buying a home, building your dream home with new construction, or turning your equity into cash, UHM's world-class service will ensure you find the perfect mortgage to achieve your home ownership goals. Call Kevin at 803-906-0244 or visit UHM.com today. Union Home Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS 2229. LONMLS 1772182.
Welcome home. That's what the Gamecocks say. And so does the Barn Dough Company, where they can build your dream home starting as low as $160 per square foot. If you live in the Carolinas, Georgia, or Tennessee, their turnkey process takes just 4 to 6 months on average and can be custom designed by size and details. Make your dream a reality. Visit thebarndominiumco.com. That's thebarndominiumco.com. The Barn Dough Company, Gamecock, owned and operated.
What's up, Gamecock fans? This is Ethan Petrie from Land O'Lakes, Florida, and you were listening to the show with JB, JC, and Phil. Go Cox.
Deep drive to left. Morgan looks up, and it is gone.
The 0-2 is sent to center, and this one is going to be long gone.
Shot the opposite field from Casas, and it's gone. 2-0. It's driven deep to left. Langford looks up, and it's gone.
Yeah. 15 minutes to go, Phil. You can get us there, right? Take us home.
Yeah, we get. Yeah, you know, what do you want to talk about? We can talk about absolutely anything.
Yeah, I just want to
go
make sure.
Around everybody's weekend, how they were doing. You know,
yeah.
Check in on family. I actually got to see my dad this weekend, or I did not get to see my dad this weekend, although he was at my house, which is interesting because we were like passing ships in the night.
Ships passing in the night.
Yeah, it's just kind of crazy the way it worked out. He's like, I'm coming to Greenville. I'll be there this and this time. I was like, you just missed me.
Well, let me ask you a question. Did you and Dad have a Jello shot this weekend?
No, I was thinking about that.
Okay.
You know, I was going to put something up on the on Twitter here with these numbers.
Yeah, it's
just
outrageous.
because it's like, I mean, if South Carolina makes it to Omaha and I'm there, I'm not a Jello shot guy, but I'll be damned if I'll, let us be looking like Virginia here.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, I mean, or Virginia at 566, Stanford at 651. That about sums up their fan bases. Just think about it for a second. And then you got the Bayou Bengals, who through one weekend, have 12,325 Jello shots down the throats of Tiger fans. To compare it, the winners last year, Ole Miss, 18,777. They are 2/3 of the way there through 3 days of the tournament.
Jeez.
3 days of the tournament. Unbelievable.
So Ole Miss had
I'm not surprised. The surprising one's Wake Forest. I mean, small but mighty fan base there. I mean, and you got to understand, man, Wake.
I think Tennessee's surprising.
Athletically, they don't get moments like this a whole lot. I mean, when's the last time Dave Odom Ended up going to the Elite Eight that one year with Tim Duncan and getting waxed by Kentucky by 35. That's the last. I mean, so whereas they may not have a whole lot of fans, most Wake Forest fans are probably in Omaha, right? So it's probably a good sized crowd.
Well, I'm surprised that Tennessee's only sucked down 1,476. I mean, think about how easy it is for Tennessee fans to take a Jello shot. They don't have any teeth to go through. They just throw them right back.
Just knock it back.
I'm just kidding. But
although
last
Virginia
year,
living up to their billing is, I mean, a true wine and cheese crowd up there.
Good Lord. I wish North Carolina had made it because North Carolina would probably be behind them.
Yeah, that's right.
Someone,
the Tar Heels,
someone check the local wine bar for,
unless it's basketball, like the Final Four. You know, I was at the Final Four. North Carolina shows up for that. I mean, that's their jam, so to speak. But Virginia, they're
about to blow through the whole thing. This is one of the more brilliant marketing campaigns I've ever seen in my life.
Imagine the money they're making.
They're killing it. They've sold 31,215 shots last year, JC. They've already sold 27,367 this year.
I mean, imagine how much Jello they had to buy. Oh, yeah.
136, 835. 31. 215 times
200 boxes of Jello.
So they're only missing their profit. Well, that's not true. I don't know what their profit would be. So I don't know what their expenses are, but they've made $136,835 this year. And last year they made $140,467 just on Jello shots. So they're $4,000 shy of their overall total last year. That's insane, dude.
That's just one weekend, too. Jeez.
I mean, that is unbelievable. So like what they're hoping for moving forward. They next year and every year after that, they want Arkansas, they want LSU. They want I don't know about Wake, but
the Gamecocks, man. The Gamecocks hadn't been in a while, so Carolina probably be a pretty good crowd out there.
I think Carolina would do well in the shot challenge. Let's see who else did well. Ole Miss, obviously. Ole Miss, Arkansas, LSU.
Jan, Kevin, and Bill alone. I know those guys. They're big baseball guys. They travel.
All right,
would put a pretty big dent in it, I think.
Let's bring some context to this compared to last year. So last year, Stanford, by the end of the tournament last year, this is how much this was a nightmare for everybody except for Ole Miss and Arkansas. Ole Miss had, y'all know that, 18,777. Arkansas 8672. The rest of these numbers are not impressive. I mean, A&M had 1327, but guys, Texas was there last year and they only sold 319. Stanford sold 231. Texas beat Stanford by 80 Jello shots. That's pathetic. Auburn only sold 430. Notre Dame fans took down 616. Oklahoma 843. So you take those numbers and you fast forward it to what I just read. These are great numbers. Hats off to Wake Forest and Florida and Tennessee for all being in the thousands. The TCU's at 3,000.
It is. Well, I mean, the last time I checked, it was like Florida was behind both the Christian schools. TCU as well as
Oral Roberts.
Oral Roberts. Yeah.
Wake
2,500.
Wake is a Southern Baptist. It's like Furman.
And they originally started as a Southern Baptist.
Originally affiliated with the church.
LSU.
So that's why they're the deacons.
12,000 in 3 days.
That's just crazy. That's crazy.
I mean, look, there's partying in the South, and then there's Louisiana.
And they're right.
I mean, that's a little bit different down there. It's a very unique part of the South.
Dude, that is unbelievable.
But though, Jamie, they probably have more fans there than anybody else. You know,
Of course.
LSU, because they go even when they're not in the tournament. I mean, that's just the way we do it in Louisiana. We like to go to Omaha, Nebraska in the middle of June, every single middle of June. Go Tigers in the summer.
Let me say this a little bit differently, because they did start this before the first pitch was thrown. It starts, just starts basically when you get there. So LSU on the 16th, they had, 659. So in the last 3 days, but numbers basically work out. 12,000. They've sold almost 12,000 since Saturday.
Jesus. Quantrell asks, who's the creepier mascot, the Demon Deacon or Purdue Pete?
Purdue Pete.
However, and I sent this text to Phil and Jamie a while back during the Murdaugh trial. I'll just go ahead and say it.
Uh-oh.
The Demon Deacon, if you line him up beside Alec Murdaugh's mugshot when Murdaugh had hair.
Yeah, that's right.
They look alike. Like he looks like a cartoon version of Alec Murdaugh.
That's true.
And so,
it's a good thing he's not a real
I don't know if that maybe changes things, but I don't think he's any creepier than Purdue Pete, though. I mean, I just that dude. He's like a throwback chiseled. I don't even know, man. I don't even know how to describe Purdue Pete.
What's the worst mask? Well, I mean, like, not to pick on, not that people are going to care about this, at least our audience, but I mean, like, the Clemson Tiger is a creepy looking mask. Like, his eyes freak me out every time I look at him.
Tweaking. He's a tweaker.
And he is. Like,
he's a copy of a copy of a copy.
Yeah, dude, it's really bad. Like, they did not do a good job with that. But I'm trying to think of, like, what is the worst mascot I've seen? I don't know.
They have it up there. I'll tell you, the worst Gamecock mascot was Big Spur. Okay, not Sir Big Spur.
No,
Big Spur back in the day. It was this 8-foot pole with a rooster head on top of it. It's like big, tall, and gangly. That was terrifying.
I wonder if I have a picture.
But I think the worst mascot probably is
kangaroo on meth. Harrison said the Clemson Tiger looks like a kangaroo on meth. I hadn't thought about that. That's pretty good.
When I was a kid, I went to the Furman VMI football game one year, and VMI's mascot is a kangaroo. And it was funny because it's, VMI's all male school at the time. Furman kicked their teeth in, but a guy sitting behind me, I'll never forget. He says, "What if you're like that mascot guy's father? You're up in the stands. Like, there's my boy there in the kangaroo outfit."
Yeah.
And that may be, VMI could be up there, like Virginia Tech is one of those that you don't really know but the Hokey Bird is like similar to Cocky. So I like Hokey Bird. Okay. The Virginia Cavalier, that's a little weird, right? Yeah. I'm trying to think. I like Tostito, the turtle.
Have y'all ever seen when like they do the family of the Stanford tree, like all four of them out there and they put the mouths on the tree and stuff? That's like, that would scare my kids. You know what I mean? Like, that's one of those, like, you're an adult watching cartoons, like, on drugs type situations. You know what I mean?
Like some sort of, LSD induced,
Like, I've actually never seen some of these. Have you ever seen Wooshok, the wheat stalk at Wichita State?
Oh, hold on. The wheat
stalk. Oh my God.
Just the concept of that might be the worst I've ever heard.
Now this one is cool. Dartmouth, Keggy the Keg. Have you ever seen Keggy the Keg at Dartmouth? It's a keg. Guy walks around dressed as a keg.
That might, yeah. Keggy the Keg, wheat stock.
Western.
These mascots are really nuts.
Big Red at Western Kentucky. That's a bad one. That looks like Elmo, like a fat Elmo.
I like that one.
You do?
Yeah, I like that one. Yeah, it just looks like, it's because it's big, round, red, huge, gigantic mouth, I'm like, yeah.
I don't know. Well, I haven't heard from Whittle. I hope he's okay.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything, seen anything. I was checking my email here. He has not responded either way.
Yeah, I haven't.
Maybe he's just busy. A lot of news today.
Push him off till tomorrow. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. Well, we pretty much addressed everything earlier anyways, so. Yeah, the blue blob at Xavier, that's bad too.
I need to do more research on this.
This is bad.
By the way, did y'all see Mississippi State's schedule reveal? Where they had the computer generated mascot, and they got to Tennessee, and it was like a weird, distorted version of Otto the Orange, the Syracuse mascot, but it was nude. It didn't have any clothes on. Like Otto always has pants and a little hat. This is just a butt-naked orange with a weird face, and it's like, wow. It was terrifying, and you zero in on it. It's really scary. It's a daggum frightening situation. So,
I thought. By the way, I thought Luke Day did a nice job on Carolinas, especially when apparently the thing with the A&M part where he's like, "What does that even stand for?
What is that?"
Agricultural and mechanical.
Yeah, he did.
That was funny.
Texas.
A&M. What does that even stand for?
It just stands for yeehaw, son, and you'll like your yeehaw. You'll take your yeehaw and like it. Woohoo! Yeehaw! Yep. Okay. Hello, Aggies.
Get 'em.
I'm with 76. I'm not a big clown guy either, man. I don't care for clowns.
My fiance hates clowns.
Yeah, I don't like them.
It's terrifying. Like even I have a picture I took with Ronald McDonald at the U.S. Army All-American game one year. Just decided a picture with Ronald McDonald, right? I'm not allowed to put it up at the house.
Really?
So even Ronald McDonald to her is terrifying.
Yeah, I can understand that. The best clown ever was in old school.
Bozo. Homie. Remember Homie the clown?
Yeah.
Yes.
Homie right. Don't play that.
Homie don't play that.
Didn't we lock you in a dumpster? I got out. Oh, okay.
Okay.
That's Oscar. I live in a trash can.
Oh, yeah. Jeez.
I live in a trash can. Nobody's helping me.
You locked you in a dumpster one time? I got out.
I live in a trash can. Ain't nobody helping me.
Ain't nobody helping me.
Anyway.
Nuts.
All right. We are out of here. Nasty weather is moving through the area, so wherever you are, be careful.
Whittle just got here.
Did he? That's all right.
Yeah.
We'll try to get John back in here in the next day or two and get his thoughts on the changes. Of course, we addressed a lot of this earlier. If you missed it, go back and check it out. Gamecock baseball set to have a new pitching coach, and it's a good one. Matt Williams is absolutely sensational. He will be wonderful for recruiting, coaching, and everything in between in the Gamecock program. For JC and Phil, have a marvelous Monday. We'll see you tomorrow. Hale will be here tomorrow on recruiting. Sedarius Hutcherson on Wednesday. Pat DeMarco on Thursday. And more surprises on Friday. Until then, have a great day. Inside the Gamecocks, the show from the Sinorama Studios. We'll be back tomorrow at 11.